man. That means we just have to do it over again.
Gotcha. So, all right. So, let's see. How should we start this? Just like you said last time, right?
I don't know how you started off.
It's my time. What's
There
up?
we go.
What's up?
What's going on, man?
Not much.
Is it pronounced Asher?
Yeah, it's pronounced Asher.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to butcher your name, man. What's going on, brother?
You're good. Just doing my best to enjoy life, or at least be a little bit more active with life.
Okay. So what's the name of the podcast?
I don't have a name just yet, but still kind of figuring it out, working out the edges, kind of looking at what the focus is on. And just to start, I wanted to talk more so about you. And the podcast right now, it doesn't have a name, but I figured the more I get into it, and then the more I go about recording, kind of getting your viewpoint and seeing what the common theme is throughout it. I hope I can get the name of the podcast through that.
Oh, okay. Oh, I meant like you don't have one like as far as like the title of your own podcast, like this is the Asher Show, or you know what I'm saying, something like that.
No, nothing yet. I thought about calling it Chewbacca, similar to what I named my Instagram thing, kind of as a joke of how people would pronounce my last name, because they look at it and it's like they see the T, and that usually throws off a lot of people. But it's one of those names that's got it's like a silent letter. So I put like the Instagram name is like T Chewbacca. So I figured people know how to say Chewbacca without trying to like fight over the T. They can say Chewa, which is my last name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's smart. That right
Yeah.
there. They ain't gotta butcher it or anything like that. You can also do it like tailor it to other things that you love. But like I said, or like you just said just now, it's something you playing with. It's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah, that's dope.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Man, that's where you want me to start, man. Like what I do, what I Lee West.
Start with oh my bad.
Oh no, you good. Go ahead and start with what?
I'd say let's just start with who you are as a person.
Okay.
How you define yourself.
Lee West. I'm a loving, caring person. I do my best to give back to people. Let's see. I was a foster youth. I do music. I enjoy acting. I enjoy motivational speaking as well. Currently, right now, I work for UC Berkeley, the police department. I've been there for 3 years and almost 4 years. November it'll be 4 years, so we'll be like 2 months out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so November it'll be 4 years. Let's see, I'm a part of BU family. Finally took that leap of faith and said, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and pay for these services, not knowing what I was getting myself into. And it's actually been rather amazing to do it because everybody's like so welcoming. It's rather phenomenal,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else? Just got my motorcycle's license not too long ago, and I'm on my motorcycle right now talking. Like I said, I don't think you can hear it, but yeah, I'm out here riding, and luckily with the Bluetooth and technology, I'm capable of riding and talking clear without a sound barrier disrupting us from this podcast today. Yeah. And I met you actually through BU recently, and you have made a post, and I took the responsibility of helping out um, one of our BU members as far as like touching bases with people in the community and approving people for certain uh, um, requests to join the clubs and stuff like that. So I took on that responsibility as a volunteer, and then that's how I stumbled upon your post. And like I said, I told you I wasn't a vocal coach or anything like that, but because of the industry that I enjoy doing, as far as the whole entertainment boy, it all like aligned, and so hopefully I was able to help you out with that.
Yeah, you were. You definitely got me started, and it's funny. Once you told me that, I saw they put up the speakers battle. They were doing the second round of it for this year, and I was like, I'm not really a speaker, but if I'm going to do this podcast thing, I need to do something different that kind of gives me a challenge or something to work on. And I'd mentioned the podcasting before to a close friend of mine, and they'd mentioned um, doing something about my voice because it tends to be monotone. And
right.
I usually don't have a lot of vocal variety. So it's like, okay, let me do this. And it was like, well, what better way to start than to like just ask somebody in Breathe University and kind of just go that route and see what help I could get. And luckily you came to the rescue and helped me out with that.
Well, I'm glad to be of service, my friend. Any way I can help, that's something that I love doing, like helping other people succeed or reach personal milestones or goals that they may have. And it's just when you sent that text message over that you entered it, I was like, oh, that's fire, man. That's super dope. And I commend you for that, taking that risk and challenging yourself, man. That's big.
I appreciate that. It's funny because I guess the whole thing was like I signed up like on the last day and I was like, oh, maybe I didn't get in because I signed up like hours later when they said they had one spot left. And then when I saw it the next day that I got put in there, I was like, oh, okay, like that's cool. So I saw the topic and I just went downstairs. Like I started thinking about it in my head and like I have a tendency to like over process some things. So then I was like, okay, stop, like just write some things down and then just start speaking it out loud, start rehearsing it in front of the camera just so that you have something down. And I started it like you said, just start that to kind of get in the mindset or just like get that energy up and then just take it from there. And I recorded that thing a bunch of times and I felt like I got tired overall. And then the last thing I recorded, it made it look like I was reading, but I was like, well, it's not the greatest thing, but at least I'm not going to make any more excuses about it because that happened to be the topic that I was given. And I just went with that and said, okay, let me just let this thing ride out and I'll just go with this right here.
Right. How did it feel doing that?
It felt good, like having done it, but then like seeing the final product, like I'm always like they say you're always your worst critic. So I was like, okay, that felt good, and I got inspired to do more of the recording, but I kind of rested on my laurels a little bit more than I should since then.
Okay.
We're back
what
here
other
today.
steps? Huh?
I said, but we're back here today, so I'm not holding on to that as much anymore.
Right. So, what steps now are you taking to enhance your vocal usage instead of just like saying that you see a monotone. Like, are you doing any other practices besides the one I taught you, or
Right. So
that's just it?
what I basically did what you taught me mainly for the video, and I guess at the start of the podcast, like saying it's my time with that energy and kind of going with the flow. Those are like the only times that I've used it then. But before um, before your advice and a little bit after, like I jumped onto YouTube and I'd been I I looked up vocal variety tips or help, and it was like somebody doing different different I'm not sure what the word is, but like vocal exercises basically that you can do, and somebody's like stepping you through it, and you're following this note or these two notes that they're using on a scale. So it's like that's the other thing. That's the other exercise that I've done.
Oh, okay, that's dope. That's super dope, man. Big ups to you for doing that too, man. That's actually, for someone that doesn't go out there and just speak publicly or anything like that. I believe I don't remember if I told you this or not, but when I first had my first performance back in 2009,
Mm.
um, it was for African American girls group and at San Francisco State University. Mind you,
Okay.
it's hundreds of females, and I've never been on stage before in my life,
Right.
and I legit almost like choked up, like, dude, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? So um, then I mustered up the courage, and I was like, you know what, forget it. They don't even know my music. They don't know me. And once I got rid of that, they don't, the whole aspect of they don't know if you messing up or not. It could be a part of the act because
Mhm.
I am the entertainer, and then from that moment on, I just own the stage, and nothing else like stopped me from doing what I wanted to do. When it pertains to music or acting, even if it takes me a few takes, I'll still go out there and give it my all. It doesn't stop me. It's just like now I have this animal inside of me. I guess you can say it's a fearless animal because I don't really trip off what other people think when it comes to my craft and I'm performing because I know what I have to offer. I know my value. Just like with your podcast, you should know your value when it comes to the content. You know what I'm saying? Whether your voice comes across to some people as monotone or it's like amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's as long as you feel good about doing what you do in your space, that's all that matters. You know what I'm
Right. Right.
saying? Yeah. And but there's always room for improvement. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
because it took me a long time to get some improvement with my stage presence as well. Like I was running out of energy, I was gassed, I was out of breath, all kind of stuff. And you just gotta build up that muscle. How you practice is how you perform. So even
Right.
with like you said, like with the what was it, the battles? Yeah, the idea that
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
doing a
The
battle.
speakers
Man,
battle.
yeah, that right there alone, right there, that's practice for you, like so that you can take that to your stage, to your platform, um, which is the podcast we're on right now, um, and you can just go ahead and make the best of it and have fun with it instead of like over stressing or overthinking. Like this is who you are, and you're gonna
Right.
have fun being you.
So I guess uh, let me ask you this question since you're a rapper and you've been doing it since 2009.
I've been rapping a little longer than that, but yeah, that was the first time I hit the stage.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what did it take for you to get up on that stage in 2009?
A lot of courage. it took a boatload of courage, my man. Like, um, sheesh. I was excited. I was nervous. I had the butterflies, the whole spiel. Like everything was running. Everybody was all over the place. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do, who to talk to. But preparation is everything. You know what I'm saying? So what I did
Right.
was I started to study other artists that I looked up to and their stage presence. And one guy that stands out amongst all of them at the time when I was doing my thing was T.I. And he like he would rip the stage, man. Like, and I was like, I want to be like that. I want to grab the crowd's attention like that. I
Mm.
want to command the presence like that. And you don't get that overnight. There's a lot of artists out there that a lot of us see that there's a difference between a rapper, a singer, and a straight up entertainer. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
you have to take that talent that you already possess as the artist and flip that into it's more so it's just like acting in a sense. Hold on, I'm about to transition to
Okay.
my other headphones. 1 second. Shouldn't take that long. I'm gonna keep talking until I put those things in there.
Gotcha.
Um,
As soon as you gotta get to the gym, don't let me hold you up because this is definitely great getting to know your story, but I don't want to hold you up.
oh no, hold me up. That's why they invented Bluetooth so that we can walk around and take care of business when we need.
Oh,
Let's
there
see
you go.
if this will work. That work?
Yep.
All
I
right,
got you.
there we go. Made that transition, smooth transition. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so that's what actually got me into wanting to do the whole music scene in the first place. Well, not necessarily the music scene, but the performing. Was T.I. and Lil Wayne's and LL Cool J's. Like just seeing the the response they would get from people was
Okay.
mesmerizing, and I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want to, I want to do that. And then what got me into writing songs first was actually my creative writing class, and it started off with the poetry. Started with the little haikus, different arrangements for poetry, and one thing led to another, and now I'm like writing full-on songs. I'm in the process of writing a book as well. So, and the book title is "Breathe: 365 Days of Motivation." So
Okay.
it's
That's
taking me
what's
on
up.
a nice little course of different things, So I'm just getting my realm of working together and enjoying it all.
That's what's up.
Any other
When's your book uh, coming out? Are you still in the process?
Still in the process of writing that right now. No
Okay.
official date right now for the book, but it's definitely in the works. I just decided. I just made the decision like maybe 2 days ago. I posted it on my Facebook when I decided I'm gonna write a book, and it was something that came over me. It was like, dude, you need to share this with the world. All this information you got hidden inside of you. Well, not even necessarily information. It's just the motivation that you deliver, and so many people gravitate to it. It's like you need to share this with other people. So that's where my head is on that, and that's what I'm gonna do with it.
Gotcha.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. So you mentioned that you started like what got you into rapping was like writing at first and kind of putting things together. Was that like through
Yep.
elementary school, middle school, high school? Like when did that start for you?
That was high school. Started off in high school for me. It was a part of an alternate class, the creative
Okay.
writing class. My Spanish speaking teacher actually, he said he wanted to see me in the class. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. and I jumped in there, and I fell in love with it. After the poem started to hit, he wanted to publish one of my poems in a book, and that's where I was like, all right, I guess I got a little gift here, you know.
Mhm.
So it transpired over into writing music, and yeah, first started off writing bad music. I'm not gonna lie, it was a bunch of stuff, you know, teenagers talk about and whatnot,
Right.
and then, you know, over the course of the years, as you write about what you're doing in your life at that time, basically.
Hmm.
So my music has matured as well as I. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Gotcha. So I mean, did your poetry go strictly from like you already had it kind of as like a rap in your mind or like a freestyle you were maybe thinking of, or did you even entertain that at
Well,
all?
my uncle actually got me. My uncle got me into writing music at like 12 when Bow Wow came out, and like my son's name is what would have been my rap name, which is Levon. Um, and it's interesting to see how everything pans out over time, and that's where that carried from. My family, my grandmother was, or she still is involved in music, and this has been a whole whirlwind of people doing something involved in music.
Okay. So it's
So
basically,
that's where the ties came from. It's family oriented.
gotcha. That's pretty cool. And I know you're on the West Coast now, but do you have like did you always live out on the West Coast?
Yeah, I've always lived on the West Coast, never lived anywhere else. I mean,
Gotcha.
for the summertime, we would go and visit Oklahoma, but that
Hmm.
was just the summer. Had family out there or whatever, but yep, that's about it.
Gotcha. It's just the reason I asked that is because you mentioned Ti is one of like the guys that kind of stuck out to you, and Lil Wayne and LL Cool J, and they seem like they're kind of from like the Midwest to the Southeast. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think LL is um, East Coast. I think he's from Queens or something like that. But I know
Okay.
Ti is from the South.
You still there?
Like worked out. It's like I grew up listening
Oh,
to LL Cool J from my mom.
you kind of cut out for a little bit.
Oh no, I said yeah. My my mom raised us on LL Cool J, and I in my teens I grew up listening to. I guess you say yeah, not grew up, but my teens. That's when I found out about PI and all
Okay.
that, and that's when
Okay.
that came about. Yeah.
Got you. Got you. I was just curious because I know like I'm not like a connoisseur of rap. Like I couldn't name you like the top 10 rappers of all time or top 50, whatever the recent list said about that. But um, I just know from like a little bit of what I've seen that people that are on the West Coast have a tendency to be like the West Coast rappers kind of have their style, but it's cool to know that like even being from the West Coast, you grew up on a different type of music because that's kind of what you were exposed to.
Right. I mean, of course, we had the Tupacs and the Too Shorts, and you know all those guys as well, MC Hammers and whatnot. It's just like you gravitate to certain genres of music. Tupac, of course, was a super influential as well as with the poetry tip. Those two just like that went like hand in hand without a
Okay.
doubt. And and he gave a lot of dope performances as well. Like Tupac was like, man, he was extra fire. So yeah, as far as the West Coast artists goes, you know, we have some great people, and then you have a guy with a lot of fire penmanship. I didn't realize until later on in life, and that was what's his name?
Kendrick.
Ice Cube.
Oh, Ice Cube. Gotcha. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Ice Cube.
It's funny. I tell you how ignorant I am about rap, or a little bit. I didn't know a whole lot about Ice Cube except for the movie that came out, Straight Out of Compton, and that's kind of like that's where I learned a little bit more about Ice Cube without doing too much research on it.
All right. Well, I mean, everybody learns from somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. But it definitely, if I remember right from that movie, it seemed to really, they made it almost like a superhero movie where you had him, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, and the other guys that I'm kind of blanking on their name right now. I'm sure somebody that listens to this down the line is probably gonna have some words for me.
Oh no, man, you all good. Ain't like you said, you already stated that like music wasn't your, well, hip hop wasn't your taste. I wouldn't say taste, but like that wasn't your like go-to realm.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So you don't have to be a master of everybody.
Right. It's definitely my go-to nowadays, because it's like I grew up for the most part on gospel, and I think I got introduced to hip hop a little bit in high school, but then I started listening a little bit more. I started listening to hip hop more like throughout college and kind of discovering like the different artists and things like that.
Gotcha. And now